Number 24, Taeguki Brotherhood of War. I'm just gonna call it Brotherhood of War, from 2004. This is a Korean film, and this movie is probably the best war-related movie in this decade. Definitely one of the best. It's right up there with... It's this decade's Saving Private Ryan, really. It's this decade's Saving Private Ryan. Especially when it comes to like the realism and recreating the battles. You know, the fight scenes and the gunshot scenes and being in the middle of the battlefield. I mean, they did an amazing job of recreating those particular scenes. This happened in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. The war that broke out between North Korea and South Korea, and the two Korean countries end up fighting against each other. And then you have these two, caught in the middle of this, you have these two family members, you know, two brothers, and they end up getting drafted by the South Korean army, and they end up going to war together. But unfortunately, like, they just want to escape. They don't want to be in the war. They don't want to get killed, you know. And so they end up kind of looking for each other. You know, they kind of, you know, well, if we're going to be in this war, we might as well stick together and kind of watch out for each other, you know, as brothers. And so it shows like the trials and tribulations of these two guys, the battles they face, the battles they win, the horrific scenes and the people dying and people getting attacked and killed and bombed in the middle of this beautiful recreation of these particular wars. I mean, like I said, this is if you enjoyed Saving Private Ryan, you're gonna enjoy this film. You're gonna appreciate this film. It's that quality. It's high caliber, man. This is one of the best war movies. Very emotional. I mean, there's a lot of emotional aspects in this film. They really focus a lot on the brotherhood. You know, basically these two brothers and you know, being family and staying kind of sticking with each other and kind of ultimately never losing faith between each other, never losing that bond, that brotherhood bond, even though they're caught in the middle of this brutal, ugly, horrific war. So a beautiful war movie, Brotherhood of War from 2004. And if you enjoy this film, I also want to suggest you try Enemy at the Gates from 2001, starring the great actor Jude Law. And that's another awesome war movie. So, continuing on, number 23, Machine Girl from 2008. This is a kick-ass movie. I mean, talk about action. You want action? You want blood? You want gore? You want just totally non-stop, fast-pacing, hard-hitting, punch you in the balls kind of movie, and beat 'em up, you know, take names, ask questions later kind of movie. This is the film to watch. I love this. The main character is like this young Japanese girl, like Japanese student, and she goes on this crazy killing spree, this vengeance, because you know, something bad happens to her at the beginning of the movie. These bad guys, these villains, and end up messing with her, and though she goes on this vengeance, this revenge spree. It's basically a revenge film with a lot of freaking violence, man. This movie is over the top, absolutely fun movie. I mean, it's a fun movie. I mean, you gotta watch this if you're into games like God of War and a lot of like violence, you know, calculated violence, and a lot of like almost like this mindless kind of brutal kind of movie where you know, a lot of people are getting blown up and shot up and whatnot. Machine Girl, man. I mean, this movie is awesome. I love how it's live action. You know, a lot of people say that this should be an anime. I mean, man, talk about making an anime and bringing it to life, man. This movie is off the chain. You gotta check out Machine Girl, I swear to God. You know, great direction, great gore, great violence, great action. Just an overall fun, non-stop, kick-your-face kind of movie. And if you enjoy this movie, I also want to suggest try watching Blood, the Last Vampire from 2009. And this is a great kind of a vampire-themed movie, but it's basically about this young girl. She's the she's like the main character. It reminds me of something almost like a Blade or an Underworld, but because of the whole, young schoolgirl kind of theme, and she's kicking all the vampires' asses, it's very similar to Machine Girl as well. So go check out Blood, the Last Vampire. Number 22. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon from 2000. Well, this movie is a great film. First of all, the direction is beautiful. This movie has beautiful cinematography. The recreating the particular, the temples and the cities and the costumes. The movie looks great. Number one. Number two, there's pretty damn good acting in this movie. I mean, it's a serious kind of drama / romantic film, and basically it kind of revolves around these two young lovers. They end up they were, kind of reluctant at first. Well, the girl is, and then they kind of end up falling in love, and the storyline is like this. Oh man, I don't want to say it's a tragic story, but that's what it really is. You look at classic tales like Romeo and Juliet, and this movie is in a similar kind of plot line. You have like these two lovers, and they can't be together ultimately in the end, and just the trials and tribulations and the beautiful kind of choreography and the stunts that you see. I mean, this movie is noted for having those amazing fight scenes that, they would just jump up on rooftops and jump up on top of these long bamboo shoots and leaves and trees, and they would fight hopping across the frickin' trees and whatnot. I love how, I mean, they really, Hong Kong cinema, this is arguably the peak, the prime of Hong Kong films, man. I mean, this movie was nominated for Best Picture, and a great freaking movie, man. It's a must-watch, because, I mean, it's not just, it's a great film in itself, but it's also like the first of these movies, these stylized kind of martial arts epics where you have these people kind of flying in different directions. You look at other movies, it would influence a lot of movies that would be released later on in this particular decade. And Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon did a lot of that early work, being kind of like that pioneer. And if you liked this movie, I also want to suggest House of Flying Daggers from 2004, and one of the actresses in this movie is actually what's her name? Zhang Ziyi, and she ends up becoming one of the main characters as well. She starred in Crouching Tiger, and now she's in House of Flying Daggers. So go check it out. Both great martial arts epics. Alright, number 21. Up 2009. Here we go, we got another Disney film up in this, and this is actually a great movie. I gotta admit, I never really had a lot of expectations for this movie. I almost stayed away from this movie at the beginning, because I was almost turned off, basically, by the whole kiddie nature of Disney. It's totally aimed towards kids. I'm not a child anymore, I'm way past beyond the whole Disney thing. But after watching this movie, man, talk about smacking myself in the forehead. What a great storyline. What a great heartwarming film. Very uplifting film, pun intended. Great movie. I like the storyline. I like the characters are lovable. The beautiful plot, man, and the character development and the relationship between the characters in this awesome family-style adventure. What more could you ask for? It's a classic Disney film, and it's arguably the best Disney movie this decade, and one of their better films, man. I mean, I haven't seen a movie this kind of heartwarming in a long time as far as animation for children. So Up, I mean, you guys already know the storyline. If you don't know, I mean, it's basically about this old man, and he has a house, and people kind of actually want him to move out of the house because people are kind of tearing down and totally rebuilding the area, the surrounding neighborhood around his house, and they want him to clear out because they want to use the property. So he ends up kind of creating putting these huge balloons. Well, not huge, but I mean, there's a lot of balloons. There's bazillion thousands of balloons lifting up his freaking house, and then he flies away and into the adventure. Great movie, man. Great children's movie. Classic. And if you enjoy this film, if you like this film, I also want to suggest Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow from 2004, starring Jude Law and I think is that Cate Blanchett, if I'm not mistaken. It's almost like a similar kind of movie where there's a lot of flying involved, you know. So I enjoyed that movie as well. Number 20.